One of my
Everyone,
favorite.
and wait, what? Come on. I'm right in the middle of trying to give my introduction and you're doing this.
I
This
didn't
is
do it. It was somebody else.
this is so professional. We're
I'm
Hello
ready.
everyone. He's doing it again.
I didn't say anything this time.
Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 41 of the Blue Sedition podcast. I'm Nate Brady alongside my interrupting co-host
I'm the interrupting cow. No, I'm Mike Smith. I'm
Moose Smith.
Here. That's right. Mike Smith. Mike.
We have survived 100 days of Donald Trump 2.
Yeah.
Yeah, but we're not going to talk about that first. Okay, we're gonna hey, something for you guys to look forward to. I know you all want to hear more about Donald Trump, but I think we're gonna jump right in because we have a lot to talk about today. And I don't think we had a show since the Trump team started arresting judges. Have we had a show since then?
No, we haven't done a show since the Trump team decided to start arresting judges.
So, I mean, you probably know by now, but Milwaukee County Circuit Judge Hannah Dugan was arrested on April 25th, Friday, April 25th, for allegedly helping an undocumented immigrant, Eduardo Flores Ruiz, quote unquote, evade arrest by federal immigration agents at the courthouse. So, Mike, you and I have been talking about this offline. Of course, this has been going on, for a few days now, both its implications, and how, this specific case itself.
Yeah.
We have some disagreements, but why don't you share with us a little bit about the story and then your hot take. What's your hot take?
Well, I have a lot of the notes here because it's a lot of minutia. It's not an interesting, the details are important, but they're not super interesting. I think the headline is what grabs everybody. So obviously there's the accusation and the arrest of Judge Dugan. And the idea was that she was helping this person avoid an ICE agent arrest, who had arrived on scene with a warrant. From what I understand, there's a difference between the types of warrants that you can get. There's basically, like, I don't know the two names of them. I don't even have them. But basically, one of them is something that you can present to any person anywhere in public and then arrest them on those merits. And then the other one is, like, in this specific case, this type of warrant is supposed to be taken to, like, the head of the judicial something or other, that building that they're working in.
The chief judge.
Thank you. Yeah. Chief justice, chief judge, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then they make a decision based on what's presented in the warrant. And so it was one of these secondary ones where they had to go talk to the chief, and that's where the ICE agents were at the time when Dugan, Judge Dugan, basically pulled the I'm sorry, I've forgotten the name already. Ruiz, is that right?
Yeah.
Into the hallway ostensibly, and said, like, head that
way. Well, even that is
they're in like the public building, they're outside of the court at this point because it doesn't have any, there's nothing to try at the moment. And she's just like, you got to go that way now.
Well,
they arrested her for that.
Yeah. So allegedly, at least the federal complaint is that Dugan instructed Ruiz to go out a jury door, which is a non-public door. And this is being argued, right? Like that's people are saying that's not what happened. And what actually happened was Ruiz and his attorney went out into a hallway where two, I believe that they were DEA agents. So there were actually 6 agents that went to pick this. First of all, 6 people had to go pick this guy up. I mean, that's wild. Yeah. First of all, okay. So I guess 2 agents were outside of the door where Ruiz and his attorney left. And then actually they didn't arrest him there. And then he went into an elevator with the agents and they still didn't arrest him. and they waited for him
Right.
to exit the building before
Right.
they arrested him. So the whole thing is just very strange, right?
Yeah. So the wrinkle that I forgot as well is that the two different types of warrants that are really at play in discussion is an administrative warrant and a judicial warrant. There's also this like third type that people have been calling a quote unquote immigration warrant that ICE has been presenting, which doesn't have to be run in front of a judge. And many judges are like, I'm just not like, and Judge Dugan is one of them who's like, I'm not acknowledging this. This has no bearing on the law, so it doesn't mean anything to me. And so that was part of the other thing. These warrants particularly state that the detainees, the people who they're whisking away and deporting probably, need to be in a public space to be I want to say arrested, but that's not the term, detained and kept.
Sure.
And so that's why they went through all that rigmarole where they're in the elevator with the guy and they're in the hallway with the guy. That doesn't matter. And as soon as he steps foot on public ground, they're like, now our warrant works. And they arrested him there. Amazing.
Yeah. So, and I want to add to this story by saying on that morning, on the morning that she was arrested, the FBI director, which I still cannot believe we have to call him the FBI director, Kash Patel, posted on his Twitter account a picture of Judge Dugan and called it a perp walk and said, nobody is above the law. He posted this here, this photo here, of course, blurring out the faces of the agents that went to go pick her up. I mean, this is so absurd to me. So
it's not good.
It's not good. It's not good. What do you think the implications of this are?
The implications are that this is a toe in the water. This is seeing what the administration can get away with.
Right?
Always, yeah. And so they have Judge Dugan, with the facts as we understand them to be, as basically having committed obstruction of justice under this particular term. But it feels very much like you had to get him outside to arrest him, and I didn't stop you from doing that. So I don't really see how they could hold an objection in a court. I'm expecting this to just get thrown out. But
I mean, I hear the argument, right? Like, okay, so first of all, her courtroom, if you've ever been to traffic court, or some other court where you have to argue in front of a judge where there's other like misdemeanor or other types of trials going on, that's the kind of courtroom that she runs. So while this was happening, there were actually other people in the courtroom. So she hears a lot
unrelated.
of cases, completely unrelated, right? So one of the most obvious responses from a judge when something is happening inside your courtroom unrelated to all the other cases that are going on is not in my courtroom. Take this outside, because this type of thing can have an effect on other cases that are going on. And one of the great examples I heard recently was whenever you're arresting people inside a court or around a courtroom like this, it creates fear even among people that aren't on trial. So for instance, if I'm an immigrant and I need to testify against somebody who is, it was an abuse case or it was something like that, am I likely to do that now? Do I want to show up to the courthouse to do that? Of course not. I'm not going to go. So, and if you've ever seen a judge, if you've ever interacted with a judge, one of the worst things that you can do is disrupt their courtroom.
Oh yeah.
I mean, this is their home, they take that very seriously. So yeah, I mean, I hopefully this falls flat, but it does send kind of this chilling effect, right? It's trying to send, in my opinion, a message to judges.
It's sending a message.
Yeah.
So the other side of this is that this actually happened already. In Trump's first term, another judge did ostensibly the exact same thing. And they were, obstruction of justice was the And I think that the court case was actually dropped in 2022 because by then, of course, Trump is no longer in power. And everyone's like, why are we trying this? Nobody, it didn't change the outcome of anything. And this is just a dumb court case. So they just let it go.
Yeah, that was Shelley Dugan of Massachusetts. She was a Massachusetts judge, I believe.
Really?
Yeah.
They're both named Dugan?
No. Sorry. Did I say Dugan?
You said Shelley Dugan.
No, sorry. Shelley Joseph.
Joseph. Okay.
Yeah. She was a Massachusetts state judge, which, okay. Yeah, I follow Massachusetts stuff a lot for, but yeah, I remember that. I remember that specifically as well. But however, I've forgotten it because so much has happened between now and then. But it was the same thing. It was aiding and abetting, conspiracy, obstruction of justice. It was like, just like Dugan is facing now, facing up to 10 years in jail, just ridiculous nonsense, right? And it's
and the Biden DOJ was like, why are we doing this? Just drop this. This was nonsense. Move it along.
Yeah.
Save taxpayers some money.
So that's what's scary in this case is it's happening so early in Trump's term that it's likely not going, it's going to be heard by Trump's DOJ, and they're going to press for prosecution here. It's not just going to get dropped. I think I don't think
they have a good case.
Listen,
and you're facing off against a judge. So
yeah, I mean, I agree with you that I don't think they have a good case. So we'll see.
Yeah.
Okay.
We'll keep tabs on it.
Yeah, we're gonna keep it.
But I don't. I'm not sure. It's going to be the other problem with this is that this is such an obvious like flex of the muscle more so than caring about the results, that I think that they're just wanted to do this for that exact thing. Now they're like, that's done. We'll just keep annoying her until this, either resolves in one way or the other, but we don't really care anymore. The point was to make a statement.
Yeah. I really feel, I think this just shows how important it is that we don't lay down and play dead like James Carville would suggest that we do. And we stand up to these bullies because you are right. They are dipping their toes in the water. They're seeing, hey, how much of this can I get away with?
Fascism can I get away?
How much? And I mean, guy, we have to stop pretending like fascism isn't here, like Trump isn't an authoritarian. It's here. It's now. It's happening. And he's pushing back against the checks and balances. He's trying to see what he can get away with before people stop him. And if nobody is going to stop him, he's going to keep doing this. So we have to push back against this. I don't see where the pushback is yet.
I mean, I think that SCOTUS handed him pretty strong pushback in the way of a 9-0 decision that he had to return.
The one that he keeps saying wasn't even about him and had nothing to do with him, and that my lawyers meant something different.
Right. He said the lawyers didn't say that I had to do that. So he's feigning ignorance on this idea of like, I can get away with this so long as I keep saying that I don't know what you're talking about. But I think at some point they're going to walk down the street and they're going to stand out in front and hold a press conference and loudly shout in a megaphone, bring him back. And then what are you going to do? You didn't hear it then?
But I guess that's the thing. What are you going to do? What are you going to do if Trump is obviously very plainly defying a Supreme Court order, right? With Abrego Garcia. What are you going to do about it? My wife asked me this question the other day. I legitimately didn't have an answer for her. What are you going to do about it?
I don't know. You're
going to send U.S. Marshals who are directed by the executive branch to go pick up the president? What are you going to do?
The Marshal Service is directed by the judicial, but
no, it's
they might do that.
I don't think so. I don't think that's correct.
I think we looked this up before too. That's okay though.
All right, no, let's answer that for our viewers. Okay, who are the U.S. Marshals? I don't know, under the service of.
Yeah, which branch of government?
Yeah. Okay. Maybe I'm wrong. I want to be wrong. Yeah, you're right. Why did I think this is a bit? No, wait. No, you're wrong. You're right.
So close.
This is why you're getting it mixed
close.
up. It's the Department of Justice, which is under the executive branch. They are.
Wow.
Yeah,
I wouldn't mix up DOJ with the judicial branch, but
well,
that's
I mean,
fine.
you're just thinking justice and
Maybe
judicial.
I'm thinking of other options that the judiciary could enact. So one thing that I have heard is that they can deputize marshals of their own. So they can say,
so yes, that is
this is a deputy, and
yes.
I'm going to give them a badge, and they operate with me now.
In fact, Judge,
and I think they're still called marshals, so maybe that's why I'm confused.
Well, one of the judges in I think it was Abrego Garcia's case, said that if you can't find a marshal, if the Department of Justice can't find a marshal to do this, then I'm going to assign one or something similar to that. Yeah. So yeah, you're right there. But yeah, the U.S. Department of Justice and the Director of U.S. Marshals Service is both appointed by the president, but supervised by the Deputy Attorney General under the U.S. Department of Justice, under the purview of the executive branch. So it's
so to answer, here's what you do. You deputize some folks as marshals for the judiciary, and you march them down to this.
And then the executive branch says, arrest the marshals that were deputized. I mean, this is just the real question.
Well, now you're talking about a military coup, and that's we have bigger problems.
But that's the real question. The real question is that's not going to happen. You're not going to deputize marshals that are going to go pick up the president of the United States, who has control of the FBI, the CIA.
You're not going to pick up the president. What you're going to do is you're going to go get
Pam Bondi, Marco Rubio.
You're going to go get Pam Bondi.
I mean, it's good luck. Good luck. And so when people say we're almost in a constitutional crisis, it's because they think we're not at the point yet where we need to go pick up these guys.
We haven't deputized anybody.
We are at that point.
People, we might be in a constitutional crisis, but who could know?
Oh my God. Well, let's just transition right over to what is basically the main story, right? Today is Trump's 100th day in office, and
April 29th.
Welcome. Hey everybody. If you're listening, you've survived. You're one of the few. There's not a lot of us left.
You haven't been detained and sent out of the country yet.
Right. Hey, good for you. So I want to run a couple of numbers by you right now, and let me know what you think. Okay, Barack Obama. Yep. I don't want to put it up on the screen yet. Okay, so let me run these numbers by you. Barack Obama, 100-day approval rating, first term. Take a guess. What's his approval rating?
49.
Go up, way up.
Higher, 51.
65%. One of the highest.
First 100 days.
One of the highest. I think the highest.
Right, but do a second term now, because
I don't have second term, but I want to go right to Joe Biden, which is basically as Republicans would say, Barack Obama's third term, right? So Joe Biden, first 100 days.
I feel like he had never had a popular position. I'm going back to 49.
54%. Okay, because you have to remember we had just come off COVID.
I know, honeymoon off of Trump 1. I get it.
We were like, thank God for anything other than what we were just dealing with. It did quickly drop. As it always does. You always have this honeymoon phase. So Donald Trump, first term. Now remember, 100 days is the honeymoon phase. Donald Trump first term.
His first term wasn't very good in the first 100 days either. It was plagued by this kind of nonsense.
Right.
So I'm going to say 44%.
Really good guess. 42%. 42%. Which you just had an election. The president just took over. You'd think that at least 50% of the country supports the guy because now he's president. But in actuality, right, in his first term, he lost the popular vote. Remember.
Right. And you have to remember that only 2/3 of Americans vote anyway. So it's like, it's not even 50%. It's going to be closer to like 33 or 35, depending on where you win it. And so that means like, even at 44%, or what do you say, 42% approval, you're like, well, you have all of your base approve of you. Mm-hmm. And then you have like James Carville and his ilk approving of you because you're doing economy.
Right.
And Not great.
Bill
but,
Maher is like he's really
Bill
nice
Maher's
to
like
me.
he's gonna run it like a business.
He's
You
nice.
got to give him some time.
Okay.
100-day mark. You know.
Okay. Final question. 100-day approval rating. Donald Trump second term. Where today?
I'm gonna say he's in the 30s. I'm gonna say 39.
Exactly correct.
Yes.
30.
I have not read these numbers.
He is
just
not.
guessing.
He is not. I pulled this one up. 39% approval rating. He has the lowest 100-day approval rating in 80 years for any president. So we're talking, 80 years is basically 20 terms of presidents. Donald Trump. Now, the problem is Donald, as we already know from previous episodes and just listening to the words that come out of his mouth, he doesn't understand percentages. So he probably thinks this is this is great.
This is great for him.
39, that's all of them. That's all all the numbers.
Can I just really quickly point out
Okay.
that, look at the two different images that ABC decides to use here. So in their hero here, they've got this sleepy-eyed looking addled old man.
Right.
He looks like the world has beaten him down.
Yeah.
And then they have this first 100 days sub banner here where he's doing his like Punisher impersonation. Which is like,
right. This ridiculous thing. Yeah.
I'm Clint Eastwood, motherfucker.
Right.
And
right.
Just can you stop pretending he's an old sleepy grandpa and nobody cares.
So let's take a look at some of the numbers here. So job approval rating, as we just said, 39% approval rating. The economy since Trump took office, people who feel that it is better, only 21% of people feel that the economy is better. 25% feel that it's the same. But man, that 21%, this includes his supporters. This means that his supporters.
What he ran on. I'm telling you. I don't care how MAGA pilled you are.
Right.
If you're like, he took office in the first 100 days, I didn't get a new job, or I didn't get a pay boost, and nothing has changed for me.
Right.
Like that's what they're thinking. They're like, I support the guy completely, but I haven't seen anything yet.
Yeah. At this point, the people who are still the real MAGA pills are the fakers on X, right? They're the people
the bots,
who are trying to get likes and views, the cat turds, the Laura Loomers, those types of people on X who are trying to make you believe. Right.
I don't even mind them going after that bag, man, because got to make a living somehow. Why not grifting?
Well, that's the entire Republican Party.
That's the game plan, yeah.
And these people are literally telling you, what did we say last week on the show, right? Trump was trying to tell you that eggs are like 98%. some ridiculous. The eggs are like 13 cents a dozen now. He's looking you right in the eyes and he's saying, no, they're not. No, they're not. Fake news. Fake news. You're standing at the grocery store. You're watching him speak. You're flipping through your TikToks and you're watching him speak, and you're going to buy eggs and you can't. It doesn't make any sense, right? So prices for the things that you want or need. Trump at 100 days, 62% of people believe that the price for things that you want or need is going up. Well, I'll
point out that this is paused tariffs. People think 62% of the polling think that things are going up in price and that tariffs haven't even been put in play yet. By and large. We haven't seen the tariff prices impact things like the automotive industry, like buying a car, buying anything that requires steel or overseas manufacturing materials. None of that stuff has made its way to the price tag yet. That's going to take a couple of months.
Yeah, and it is.
And we already think that everything is going up too fast.
And to be fair, just the threat of them has caused massive panic. Right. And cause prices to go up. And that is going to be used as an excuse to gouge if tariffs actually do go into place. There's already talk of like madness at shipping container centers like the docks in LA. The Port of LA. Yeah. It's madness. So finally, the last poll question it goes over here is likelihood of Trump's policies to cause a recession, and 72% of people
Oh my God, it's so much worse. It should be 100%. And the problem is that I don't think your average voter has a proper appreciation for what a recession is and
Right.
I think that we just think bad economy, people losing jobs, and we just assume that that's all the recession is. But all of his policies, tariffs, like chief amongst them, but also him trying to pressure the Fed into lowering interest rates are only going to exacerbate that. It's going to make inflation worse. It's going to therefore make a recession more likely because people are going to be losing their jobs and inflation is going to be crazy. So you're like, oh, okay, I lost my job and everything costs way too much. Perfect storm for the worst recession we'll ever see.
I remember one of the main talking points of the Trump first term was basically like, if I had made some comment on, X when I was on X, somebody would say, yeah, but your 401k. And it's like, oh, okay, great. So authoritarianism threats, but at least my 401k is doing fine, right? But they weren't wrong.
I don't think he can make that claim this time around.
He can't make that.
I watch the stock markets like you do. It's the volatility that he has caused in the last 3 months. I have it right here. For one, they're down, the Dow's down like 4,000 points, 4,355 as of right now since he took office. But I mean, week over week, it's plus 1,000, minus 1,000. And then when he starts talking about tariffs, it's 2,000 or 3,000 a day. And you're going, no markets can handle this kind of volatility. It's going to cause real problems.
It's hilarious because, well, it's not hilarious at all, right? But then you have the secretary, the press secretary, Caroline Leavitt, just going in front of media and literally lying right to your. I mean, we're living in that post-truth society where we're just looking people in the eyes and we're saying, even though unemployment has increased, and we're looking people in the eyes and saying we have the best unemployment numbers that we've ever seen. The economy is doing better than it's ever done. Liberation Day was a great success, even though we've, basically reverted all of those tariffs.
Those stances on tariff. Yeah.
We're not attacking democratic institutions. They're just literally lying right to our face. And there are still people who believe it. Clearly this poll, only 1 in 10 people believe that the price for the things that they want have gone down. How can you, that's an objective, objective truth.
That's a fact that you live through in your life.
Yeah.
Unless you're like not the person in the family, like say you're an adult living with your parents, right? You're one of these college kids who couldn't find a job because the economy's bad. You move back in with your parents and they still buy the groceries and things. Maybe you don't know that the prices of things are changing. Maybe you're just like, I don't know. He said they're going down, so I believe him. Like maybe, right?
Maybe.
But that's giving a lot of credence to this hypothetical that I just came up with. Like that seems that 11% still seems high to me.
Yeah.
Who would actually believe that? Who goes to the supermarket every week and is like, yeah, prices are going down? Who would say that? Sycophants, then maybe.
Exactly.
Maybe you're just a Trump loyalist and you're like, I'm going to vote the way that makes him look good in this poll because I love him.
Yeah.
Sure. Yeah. But you don't actually believe that.
No.
You can't go to the grocery store and say that you're paying less this year than you were last year every week. Get out of here.
So let's go over some of the highlights, right? So far,
give me the highlights.
Let's go over some of the highlights, right? So we have Liberation Day, which we just talked about. I mean, that's just fantastic. By the way, we didn't get to celebrate. I think it was April 25th, or it was like the Italian Liberation Day. So if people don't know about that, you should look that up. You should look that up in the past. But it was the day that basically, was a call to Italians to stand up and rise up against Nazis, right? And it's just that's the word that they use. That's what they labeled it as, Day of Liberation.
Oh.
And so Trump using Liberation Day to impose higher tariffs in April is just so stupid. So we have that. We have the executive orders that attack law firms. We have pressuring.
Yeah.
I mean, and a lot of those law firms caving.
And law firms caving and Cooey and the others. But
we have Trump pressuring major universities, many of them caving like Columbia, many of them stepping up like Harvard. over campus speech and anti-Semitism and, you know,
We didn't even
academic
get to talk
freedom.
about Harvard.
We did talk. We talked about
Did we
it
talk
last
about
week.
it? Okay.
Yeah. Because I got to pull out a
All
little
right.
Boston accent and say, "Get out of here, guy."
Oh,
Remember we did that. He's threatening judges with impeachment, hitting at. I mean, one of the biggest things, which is now he's insisting now is no longer a joke, is pursuing a third presidential term. And I wanted to talk about this one a little bit because it now seems like news outlets are legitimizing this without really like digging into the fact
they asked him, or maybe they asked the press secretary, I don't recall, but they asked the question in a way that sort of presupposed the outcome. They're like, is there a plan to run JD Vance for president with Trump as his vice and then have him resign?
And yeah, no, that was I think that was in his 100 Days interview with Time Magazine.
Was it him?
Yeah,
That's right. Right. Time asked him that as like a little gimme pitch, and you're like, why are you laying this groundwork? What's wrong with you?
It's unbelievable. And yeah, so I don't know if it was CNN or NBC. I mean, it was a major news outlet that basically said Trump's pursuit of a third term disrupts the Republican primary field. And you're like, right, no, that's not the headline. Like,
it's not the headline. Yeah.
Why are we legitimizing this?
Yeah. I don't know. It's disturbing how much the news, the legacy media in this country is capitulating to his just addled brain's whims. He's like, I'm going to run for a third term, even though it's clearly unconstitutional. And then the newspapers are like, if, the OJ thing, right? If I were to do it, I'm not saying I did it, but if I were to do it, here's how I do.
Yeah.
You're like,
I'd use gloves that
red carpet for this guy.
It's the same thing that happened in 2016, actually specifically 2015. It's the same. It's sane washing. It's taking his crazy shit and spinning it like remember when he was at the World Economic Forum and he's asked some question about trade, and by the end of it, he's talking about like daycare in the United States, and people and I mean, he just goes on this rant and people are like, what the fuck is he talking about? Like, clearly the audience is confused, the commentators confused, everybody's confused. And then like the Wall Street Journal is like, Trump takes bold stand on, economy during and you're like, no, like, right. Everyone thinks he's batshit crazy.
Just talk about the thing that's important.
Yeah.
Like, stop whitewashing it for us. Just tell us what it is. What I'd like to see is somebody make the argument that he can't even be on the ticket again. I think that's an interesting argument for the interpretation of the 22nd Amendment, just saying he's ineligible to be elected president. That means that if you're the vice president and the president dies, you have been elected president because you were elected as vice president and now you're president.
Yeah, but were you elected president? So yeah, I'm worried about that. Ticket. I
want to see.
So does that mean he can't be Speaker of the House?
That you can't be on the ticket.
Does that mean he can't be Speaker of the House?
See, I want to hear a legal scholar.
I
want, because I don't know. I'm not a constitutional lawyer. I want a constitutional lawyer to explain to me the limitations imposed by the 22nd. I think personally, from a naive point of view, that it means you're ineligible in a position to be the president of the United States for a third term. So I don't think you can be the vice. I don't think you can be the speaker. I don't think you can be anybody who's in the line of succession.
No, I agree with you. I mean, unfortunately, these things are just worded so poorly, and the process to update this to more modern language is beyond our capability because we don't have a functioning government anymore.
There's that too.
Yeah.
So maybe we should list that under one of his first accomplishments as a son of Jay's.
Is that we no longer have
rendered the federal government largely not useful.
To be fair, we've been heading in that direction for a while, not just under Trump. But yeah, I think he's helping just show the real dysfunction in our government, right?
Yeah.
But so let's continue. We have a lot more. We have a lot more to cover. Let's keep going. He invoked the Alien Enemies Act of 1798 to expedite deportations, right?
Yeah.
Uh,
Now, admittedly, that one is currently on hold under TRO
right.
in the courts. So I don't think that he can actually use that as a legal justification for deporting anyone. Doesn't mean that they're not going to keep deporting people. And in fact, their game plan to date has been, we're just going to deport them so fast that the courts can't do anything about it. And then we're going to claim no legal jurisdiction. And what are you going to do about it? So we need to solve that problem.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I'd say at least the courts are siding on the correct side of history, saying you cannot use this legally to deport people. And I think that the other thing is that certain in thinking about like Mahmoud Khalil and some of these other protesters who basically are being deported for their thought crimes against the state. They had legal injunctions in place before they could make it past the country's lines, and so they're going to sort of be forced to play this out to its logical conclusion because they couldn't get away with their fly-by-night scheme to exile people to the gulags. So with any luck, they'll obey the law and stop doing it. We'll see. We'll put a pin in that for now.
He has threatened Greenland with basically military takeover of the country.
Military occupation, annexation, and I guess ultimately making a state out of it.
I don't know.
I think that I use this in one of our blog posts about the Canada thing, which I'm sure we're going to get to in a second. But it's like the game plan is we're going to make it the 51st state, and then we're going to forget about that 51st state bit after we have control. Because it's going to be Puerto Rico all over again. It's going to be, we just occupy you and we rape your resources, and we promise you're going to get a vote eventually, but we can't do it right now.
Man, I hated you using that word there. Just you completely threw me off. I did not enjoy that.
I'm sorry. I'm calling it for what it is because that's
you're right. You're right. It just
the Trump admin doesn't care about Greenland for anything.
No, they don't,
except its natural resources. He's used it as low hanging fruit for a takeover that he can then use to further his own wealth.
They could get bounty paper towels out of the deal, which I think is a huge win. We're going to get to Canada, but I wanna maybe actually end on that because there's some big news related to Canada that I think we should cover before we end the show.
Okay.
So we'll put that towards the bottom of his 100 days because actually he has something that he can put on this list that we actually are really thankful for.
Positive.
Yeah.
I love it.
Well,
actually there's a couple. So let me just since we're talking about Greenland.
Okay.
This whole thing, this threat, thinly veiled threat that he's presented to Greenland, has reinvigorated the people of Greenland in their diplomatic relationships with Denmark, right?
Yep.
With the Danes, and basically they're agreeing more than they ever have in the entire history of their country.
It's amazing, right? It's the 9/11 of, where, Americans on the left and the right, the people were flying flags, everybody, whatever.
Second Trump term has just hit the towers.
Whoa. Oh my God, you're landing them today. Pardon the pun. You're right. That's another positive in his first 100 days. He's
so abjectly repellent to other countries, ally and enemy alike, that everything he does is like the touch of death. Like anything he wants in foreign relations doesn't happen because he specifically wants it. Greenland's just, bad pun, but the tip of the iceberg.
This list here that I'm kind of reading a lot of these off of has as an achievement or a list of things that he's done during his first 100 days, what we just talked about, record low approval rating, lowest in 80 years. Right. But it gives one of the ones that I missed, which I want to see if you can guess, for honeymoon approval ratings. Richard Nixon. Let's see if you can get Nixon's approval rating first 100 days. I don't think he made first 100 days in his second term. Right, where he resigned shortly after winning. Am I remembering that correctly? But anyway, first term, 100 days.
I don't know. I also the problem is I also don't recall when our getting into the Vietnam War really happened. Was that I don't remember if that was at the start of his presidency or if that was something he inherited. But either way, I'm going to say low. I'm going to say 45% for Mr. Richard Nixon.
Yeah, I mean the Vietnam War was technically 1955 to 1975. But our involvement in it happened in 65.
Okay.
So I
have to work backwards to figure out where Nixon is.
Yeah, I guys, this history stuff is hard. Okay, my brain's been
if I didn't live through it, I'm not going to remember it. That's
it's
the problem that I have.
However, you are very far off in your guess.
Very far off.
Very far off.
Oh, he must be wildly successful then.
Yeah. 62%
approval rate.
62%. So 3% under Obama in his first 100 days. So people were really happy. Yeah.
Ow.
I don't know. We didn't live. I wasn't alive. That he's like, now this is something I got to look into. So yeah, among the 100 days, among the 100-day approval ratings, let's see if we can get a full list. Approval ratings full list here, since this is a
yeah, I'm sure you can.
Yeah, there has to be, right?
Yeah,
I would think Wikipedia would be a great source of this, but I don't see it, which makes me sad. Let me try Wikipedia.
Come on, internet.
Here we go. No, it's not doing it. It's not helping.
Wow, yeah, man, Nixon won California. That's unbelievable. I mean, he's from here, so I get it, but all the same.
Oh, here we go. Here's a Wikipedia list. Here we go. Okay, give us. Are you going to give us? So this list doesn't have 100 days in it.
Lowest approval, highest approval, but yeah, nothing for the first 100 days. That's a shame.
Okay, here's sorting by highest approval. Look at W. Bush right after 9/11.
Oh, I know. How can you not?
Right? Yeah. I mean, and kind of the same things here, right? Truman,
not only that,
Roosevelt.
but yeah.
Boy, there's a lot of Democrats up here on this list. But then there's Reagan and Nixon, right?
Yeah.
And then, so this looks like
they were deeply polarizing presidents in their.
Yeah, for sure.
In their, I mean, if you ignore all the Trump presidencies, they're probably the most radical right-wing presidents that we've seen. So I'm not surprised that their approval ratings are quite a bit lower than the rest, because
so here's
anybody can be a populist president.
Yeah, here's initial approval rating. So I assume we can basically count this as first 100 days ish. And I mean, Truman 87, Johnson 78, Kennedy 72, Ford 71, Obama, Eisenhower, Carter, all in the high 60s. It has Nixon at 59 here, Clinton at 58, which is shocking. That one's a little shocking to me. I thought he was more widely liked than that. He was definitely one, at least in my lifetime, the last like bipartisan president, if you will.
Right. He was the last president who, like, I mean, aside from wartime Bush, but yeah, he was the president who could actually get people to agree on things and pass, sensible gun.
At least get Congress to agree on things, not that the constituents actually agreed, but yeah.
Right. And this is all about the voters, so it doesn't really matter that much.
Yeah. Interesting. Okay.
Right.
So I want to transition here. So do you have anything to add? I mean, Trump, we have a whole list we could continue on 100 things.
Bad.
Trump
people
bad.
Think so.
Trump first 100 days, very, very bad.
I will say that he's lost a lot in the polling because of disenfranchised Latino voters. I've seen so many articles with interviews from Latino community and Latino voters who basically all have the same version of the following quote: I knew he was going to import Latinos, but I thought it was just going to be the criminals.
Yeah.
Not, person going to school or person working.
It happened in his first term too, like MAGA husbands their wife gets deported, and they're like, I didn't
Yes.
think it was
Yeah.
going to happen to me. And you're like, and these people, I'm surprised there are even disenfranchised voters who this isn't directly happening to, because it feels like what I'm seeing is it has to happen to them in order for them to finally realize it. It's just like the COVID vaccine, right? It's like, how many people were anti-COVID vaccine until their last breath on their, you know, taking their oxygen mask off, saying, I wish I had gotten the vaccine, you know?
Yeah. You're right, though. I mean, and there's also, we have to understand about like culture and the way that we consume the news. Obviously, you and I and all of our listeners probably very online. We get a lot of this stuff from firsthand accounts from reporters on the ground and things like that. A lot of people in a lot of different cultures in America go by like word of mouth pretty much. And they're not going to watch the news. I mean, a lot of Latino people in America don't speak English. They just don't. So they follow, you know, either their local news sources or they have community where they get their news from. And so a lot of this stuff was driven by word of mouth. Trump's going to help. Trump's going to fix everything. It's going to get better. And he's only going to deport, you know, the violent, illegal, whatever. And you just believe it because it's what your community says. As soon as that community started seeing the reality of what these deportations were going to look like and how it was going to impact their community specifically, that word of mouth changed dramatically.
Yes. It's funny that you say that, though. I mean, like you said, we are really entrenched in this stuff. We're talking about it every day. We're watching the news every day. We're listening to different podcasts, whatever there are a lot of people that don't do this. And I play poker, for instance, with some friends, and I like go out and do other things. And you hear people talk about politics, and you have to sit here and like, dude, that's not even close to correct. Like, you are so far off of your understanding of what's going on right now. It's wild. And when people hear some things, they're like, wait, really? He's doing that?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. No, and a lot of people in those spheres of influence will say, fall into the sensationalism. So things that sound more sensational than they actually will be or are in reality. And that's the only thing they hear.
Right.
So Trump's going to fix everything with the illegal immigrants who are causing all this trouble in this country. Doesn't apply to us.
Yeah.
That's what they think.
Yeah. I mean, how many times have you heard?
But now they're like, oh, they deported him and they deported him.
Yeah. How many times have you heard that?
A little bit here. That's a problem.
Right. That like, oh, Nate, I don't care because he's just deporting criminals. And you're like, no, actually, that's not true. And by the way, you cannot call
I can name people.
I mean, how do you call? I always, I think a great retort to anybody who says they are just deporting criminals is you cannot call somebody a criminal until they've had their due process.
Until they've had a day in court.
Yeah. So you're not a criminal.
Courts for exactly this reason.
Exactly.
You can win this argument by holding a court case and proving that they're here illegally and then deporting them.
Right.
Take a little extra time, do it the right way. No, we're bye-bying people on blackbirds in the middle of the night.
And we're bye-bying people that have been here, that have come here legally, whether it's through asylum, whether it's through green cards, student visas. I mean, we are just
H-1B workers. I mean,
they're just kicking out anybody.
We want immigrants to do certain jobs in this country, and now we're like, you're here illegally, you're gone.
The combination of we talk about this all the time. The combination of these mass deportations, plus the unrest and the unpredictability of Trump and his economic policies is leading to it's going to lead to an absolute disaster. There's no.
Well, they've already shown it. I mean, we spend all of our time talking about it, but the way that the administration moves is sort of fast and loose, and they just get everything wrong.
Right.
And so you're like, in the best case scenario, this is like a chaos admin, but they're doing so many things incorrectly.
Right.
Whether or not you object to it morally, which we both do, but it's such a shit show that nobody has any confidence in you. And the polls are now showing that.
Yes. And I mean, they're only going to get worse, right? Because
they're
I feel
only
like
going to get worse.
The 1 in 8 people that still think that the prices are going down, eventually you're going to realize, because it's going to get a lot worse.
Right.
If you don't have,
what will be interesting, but horrible, but interesting, is that the only way that we've seen these bumps in numbers of getting the American people to support you is by way of war, right?
Right.
But the only way that we actually have seen that play out is when a different country, engages us in war and we respond to that. You can't just go to war. If Trump's like, we're going to war with Iran, his numbers are going to sink like a stone.
Right. This is going back to the economic insecurity and instability. I shared this morning. More Americans are financing groceries with buy now, pay later loans, and then paying those bills late or not at all. This kind of thing doesn't. It's not a thing that people are going to see overnight. It's a thing that you're going to see in a year. You're going to see in 2 years when the debt starts piling up. This is a direct result of Trump's economic policies and where we went from, as much as we were not happy with Biden for many reasons, at least we were going in the right direction with the economy in such a way that inflation was coming down. That doesn't mean prices come down. It just means, future inflation is coming down. Things were looking better, or at least more stable for the economy. Now, that doesn't address the things that you and I always talk about, like the wage gap and things like that. But it wasn't getting dramatically worse like it is now. These things this is going to bite us in the ass. Really soon.
Especially, and this is to say nothing of some of the ideas that Trump and his ilk had floated during the campaign. Imagine he actually goes through with his idea of a tax overhaul. Well, he does away with income tax and replaces it with purchasing tax, the flat tax on goods purchased. You can't afford the groceries now.
Right.
Then he's going to put a 25% tax on it to boot.
Yeah.
Half of that payment that you put into this thing, you're going to end up having to pay later as this huge debt because of these taxes he's ideally putting into place.
Right.
And that doesn't also include the tariffs that are going to make anything that you buy that isn't grown in America, which is a lot of food, cost more because of tariffs.
And I just want to explain to people right now, I love that you brought that up, because I used to be, so I am definitely for simplifying the tax code. I am definitely for no income tax would be a thing that I think we'd all be happy with. But I want people to just, before you jump on board with an idea like that, remember that if there was no income tax and then there's a flat tax on purchases like grocery items, and it's something like 30%, like, dairy, like farm products, like all of these other things, that again is going to be a tax on you, on the working class, and things like jet purchases or whatever, these types of things, they're going to end up being exempt. And all that this is going to do is look like a victory for the working class, and you're going to be paying more in taxes than you are right now. So that's just something to think about. Okay.
No, I know. And not to mention that you'd have to sell the idea of, the minimum alternative tax usually gets people a federal refund that a lot of people rely on.
Yeah.
And if you get rid of taxes in that fashion, there's no more refund.
Right.
You're paying your taxes at the grocery store. You're paying your taxes at Target and Walmart and everywhere else.
Which you can't even afford right now.
You can't even afford right now in a lot of cases.
So you're going to pay that 30% tax, and then you're going to go put it on your credit card, and then you're going to be paying interest on that. You're going to be paying interest on your taxes. No. That's not good.
And even if they don't exempt the luxury items you're talking about, private jets, yachts, etc., so that the billionaires and millionaire class has to actually pay taxes on things, that's a drop in the bucket.
Right.
On an individual level, everyone will be paying roughly the same amount of money in taxes in this way, because we all buy groceries, we all buy gasoline for our cars, we all buy the same things. And it doesn't matter if you're a billionaire or not, you eat food.
Right.
So you're going to pay the same taxes I do. I'm not a billionaire.
But it's a much.
Oh, no, you're right. You're right. You paid the cap of $10,000 on a single purchase when you bought your $48 billion yacht.
Right.
You're absolutely right. You paid that 10 grand, but on averages, everyone's going to pay the same amount.
Right.
And that's how is that fair? How are you going to have a billionaire buying yachts and jets and things paying the same amount of taxes as you and me?
Right. It's
Ridiculous.
not sustainable.
I'm for tax reform, but that's not the right answer.
That's not it. I would love to somehow work out a way to not pay income taxes where it saves the working class and the elite class has to pay just a little bit more, but it's never gonna happen because they're not gonna
They'll never allow it, for one.
Right.
But
Right.
for two, I don't think the American consumer can stomach a change in taxes that would be so shocking as this.
Oh yeah, it would have to be an incremental change. That's a change that just. But if there is a change and you're looking at it, it probably doesn't benefit you. Just bottom line.
Yeah, no, I mean, this we should make it the argument this way, because I think that a lot of people now, because of the spotlight it's been given, they understand what tariffs are and how that'll affect prices. It's a tax that we pay on goods that come into the country, that we buy, and we pay for it. Imagine that, but instead of goods coming into the country, it's literally everything you buy at the store. It's a tariff we impose on ourselves. Those are the taxes the federal government would collect. That's what we're talking about here.
Yep.
If you don't like it when you can't buy your cheap Temu crap, what are you going to think when your can of beans costs 25% more?
Yeah, I mean, it just really adds up. You'd be like, oh, I'm okay with paying like $1.75 instead of $1.40, but no, it adds up. And we're all seeing.
And these
that
are
right
things
now.
you buy every week for to sustain, you
Yeah.
and your family.
Yeah.
Your price of eggs goes up every single week. It's like
my grocery bill is insane, and we're a 3-person.
Oh, I know.
And I know you are too. And it's just
Yeah.
I can't even believe it. I mean, I've never been like a hardcore value shopper, and I am now. You know,
I was thinking that too. I was like, when I was like a teenager, I would be like laughing at like the old folks in at the supermarket, being like, why is this so expensive? And they like put things back at the end. And I'm like with the family. I'm like, oh shit, I'm that old man.
Yeah.
I'm the guy who's screaming about the price of eggs here. I'm like, go put that. We can't afford to go put that.
Yeah. I'm like, no, we can't. We're not buying Fruit Loops. I'm buying Fruity O's. You're getting the Fruity O's on the bottom shelf,
down
in
there.
the back, without the box, in the clear plastic bag.
See if you can find one that's torn a little bit, so we can get a little discount there.
Yeah. See if is that expired? Okay, grab that one. That one's expired.
Put that one. Grab before somebody else does.
Oh man. Okay, let's move on to. I mean, we don't have a lot of time left. We're about to hit that hour mark, but I wanted to share some congratulations. Thank you, Donald Trump, for helping the Liberal Party in Canada, led by Mark Carney. Just a couple of months ago, the Liberal Party was down big time in the polls in Canada, and
on the heels of the Trudeau scandal and all that stuff. So it's understandable. We're like, oh, okay, they're going to win big political points because of this whole Trudeau thing. The Conservatives will probably take power. I think the polling had the odds at basically like 2-1 that the Conservatives take power 2 months ago. Like it was a sure thing.
I don't know.
Donald Trump gets on his Truth Social and he's going, oh, you got to elect the Conservative Party of the North, and maybe they'll be the 51st state. And they want that. They want that so bad. Elect the Conservative. I'm like, you just ran the best propaganda against the Conservative Party. And in fact, I think one of them like got on Truth Social and was like, shut the fuck up, man.
Yeah, like
you're
enough,
ruining
dude.
this for us.
The Liberal Party was 20 percentage points behind in January.
20 points.
20 points behind in January. 20 points.
That's in our general election. That's a state that we don't visit. We're just like, we're not going there. We're 20 points behind. We're not visiting.
Yeah, I mean that's Alabama, right? Like we're okay.
We're not going to Alabama. We're 20 points behind.
Yeah, we obviously we're not going to Alabama. We're never going to win Alabama, right?
Oh my god.
Yeah, and then stage. Now I will say that they didn't win. They didn't win enough seats to form a government.
They don't have the clear majority.
They don't have the clear majority, so they have to go in and do that negotiating, whatever those crazy other countries do.
They have a parliamentary system, so they have more than 2 political parties. Can you believe it? They have seats at the table, and so I think it's the New Democrats or what they're called up there, and they're basically like our progressives, I think, and they hold enough seats to get a simple majority. So I think that the Liberal Party should basically be in control for the next 4 years.
So this is their 4th straight, so their 4th consecutive victory. And I was, I remember in 2016, I guess closer to 2018, my wife and I were considering a change, right? Like we're like, I mean, things are just not right in the United States, and they don't seem like they're going to be getting any better. And looking to the north, I was going, man, I feel like they are just a few years behind doing exactly what we're doing here, right? Like this crazy right-wing uprising, and shit's going to get bad. And I'm wondering if they, thanks to Donald Trump and what he's doing right now and what they saw here, they get to skip all of that and learn from our mistake.
That would be really, really good for them,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah.
I like it because it hands Donald Trump a loss in our country, which is nice. Just
Yeah.
like, hey, you still have the touch of death. Well done. Well done.
Yeah.
I mean, this was not losable. If he just shuts his fat mouth for a few months, the Conservative Party wins in Canada, and then he can do whatever he wants with them.
Yeah, I mean,
he just has to talk. He has to talk, and he put tariffs on Canada, and Canada's immediate response was, "Don't buy American," and they put that in every store in Canada, like their biggest. And even you're like, even the conservative voters in Canada were like, "I'm a conservative. Fuck the US." And they were very clear about that.
Yeah.
And so they're like, I'm not voting for this guy because this guy's getting the Trump endorsement. I'm going to vote for the other guy just to piss him off.
Right. So this is, to me, a very hopeful sign for the midterms that we have coming up. Not soon enough, unfortunately.
Not soon enough.
Not soon enough. But there's still
about a year,
but we still have some serious concerns with the perception of the Democratic Party right now. They are polling, obviously, unsurprisingly, very, very low. Some of the worst numbers that the party has seen in a long time, especially when the Republican Party is performing as poorly as they are. And Republicans, I see this, at least those Republican shysters that I was talking about early, the Candace Owens and those type of people are showing this as, obviously nobody likes the Democratic Party. This is a huge victory for Republicans. But the reason why the numbers are so low is because people are upset with the Democratic Party for not responding appropriately to what the Republican Party is doing. And it's as simple as that. So I'm hoping we see a lot of great new blood coming up. I'm very excited about quite a few races. I think this is a great chance for progressive Democrats to come out and score some very easy victories. So I'm hoping all of this is a positive sign for midterm elections if we get to midterm elections.
And the most annoying thing as a Democrat right now is that our elected leaders continually play the same hits where they're like, we're not in power, we can't do anything. What do you want us to do? And then they just continue with business as normal. They had a vote today to confirm Trump's ambassador to China, and 16 Democrats voted to confirm him, including Cory Booker. So you're like, you can't keep telling me over and over again, what can I do? And then just blanket yes vote on all of his assignments for these things.
I mean, I made that point about
like
Cory Booker.
That's just telling your voter base that you think that they're stupid.
Right.
Because these are public votes and you're like, I can't do anything. And then you're like, I vote with him.
Right.
And so I'm like, I need people to go out and actually campaign with this messaging of this guy, the incumbent, for us, does nothing for us. He doesn't fight. He goes along with the show. Get him out of there. I want people to fight. I want progressives in there who are going to fight this horrible administration tooth and nail.
I posted exactly that about Cory Booker a couple of days ago, where it's like, don't tell me that Cory Booker is one of those people fighting for us. What did he actually do? He did his cool 24-hour speech. Super
fun.
You know,
he broke a record.
He broke a record, and then it was immediately
business
back
as usual.
To business as usual. Exactly.
And to be fair, they're going to jam these appointments down your throat no matter what.
Right.
They'll pass on party lines. There is no reason for you to just vote yes on these things. Vote present and then move on. If that's all you can do, like make that statement of I cannot in good faith or good conscience approve of this appointment.
What is
like
the reason
for
it? Seriously, what you have to help me. I'm missing something. What is because you're never getting anything in return. And
you're never going to get anything in return.
And Republicans are generally very good about just standing ground.
I'll tell you the reason that I suspect.
Okay.
And we'll have to argue this at some later date, I'm sure, but I suspect it's optics. I think that Cory Booker fancies himself a run for the president at some point, and he wants to do the same nonsense that Biden did, where he leans back and he's like, look at my record of working with my Republican allies across the aisle. Here I am voting for their,
nobody
it's wants posturing this. And optics, and actual Democrats are like blah blah blah.
I would not listen to a single strategist that tells me that one of my talking points needs to be that I'm willing to reach across the aisle. You can literally go fuck yourself.
You can reach around my aisle.
Right. I've got an aisle for you. And yeah, I would absolutely not do that. That would not be my talking point. And I think some of the most successful up and comers and some of the most successful people in Congress, specifically progressives, do not have that stance. They are,
no, they don't.
I'm going to fight for you. I'm going to fight for the working class. I'm going to fight for the American people. I don't need to say that I'm going to reach across the aisle. No, I'm going to slap the hand away of anyone who is trying to hurt you and line their own pockets. How hard is that?
I'm like, I'm here to do the work. Here's how I propose we do it. You're either working with me or you're not.
Right.
And I don't really care to reach across the aisle. You come reach over here. You want to work with me and help people.
I think a winning message these days, I think there are a lot of people that are tired of team politics. And I'll give another example of this. Yesterday, unfortunately, I came across a cat turd post. That was cat turd 2, whatever. The guy that ran over his dog, the guy that killed his dog by running it over.
Right.
He said something like, I can't believe that Chelsea Clinton got to buy a mansion on our tax dollars. And it was something like, I don't know where it came from. I don't know what it was, but it was something like spent $10 million on this property and whatever. And my response was like, okay, well, first of all, really, really glad, really happy, smart choice choosing property, buying property with our money instead of spending millions of dollars every week on a golf trip, right? But I don't want this to be about team politics. My point was, I want to find anybody in government abusing our tax dollars and put a stop to it. But you're so one-sided that you're pulling up this Chelsea Clinton nonsense. And then let me look through your post over the last 8 years. No, I see nothing about Donald Trump spending literally every weekend at the golf course, winning his own senior golf tournament while he's fucking shanking balls behind him. And literally spending $3.5 million a day while he's golfing.
Taxpayer
money. And you had to go back to, 2009 when you found this line item and you're turning it into be this thing. My dude, Trump has already spent nearly $100 million on vacation of taxpayer money. So what do you...
But that's what I was saying earlier
what
about
are we doing?
The sensationalism. It's
right.
People, they get the sensational titles like that, the headline, and then they don't do the digging and they just assume that that's the thing. But I'm like, but the news media and the left in particular, well, I should say that, corporate Democrats in particular, aren't doing a good enough job of calling out the hypocrisy or getting in front of it and just saying, why are you wasting so much money playing golf?
Exactly.
You were elected president. Should the president have a meme coin that he stands to make billions of dollars from? Does that seem like it's a case of impropriety here? Maybe that's not good. I did a lot of questions that they could just volley and it would presumably go unanswered, but you could be asking them. You could be doing your news hits every day like they do anyway. I mean, and just call out the other side for the ridiculously.
The precedent that he set with that meme coin, I mean, holy crap. They
made Jimmy sell his goddamn peanut farm.
The freaking peanut farm. And we're over
here.
This
guy's got a meme coin that he has most of the stock in.
Well,
and
he's
going to
not.
sell it. He's going to sell it for billions.
And by the way, he is not divested from anything this time around. It's like there's no, forget it. Let's stop the pretending that we're even divesting.
He was like, the first time around, he's like, I put it in Jared and Ivanka's hands. It's not in my hands. No, it's mine. Nobody cares.
Now the literal president of the United States is like, now's a good time to buy DJT stock. Get your DJT here.
Prices are nice and low. I think it's going to get a bump.
Hint, hint. It's, I mean, what?
And then the next day he's like, "Oh, I'm pausing the tariffs, everybody." And then the stock markets go crazy, and all the insider trading, all his buddies make $1 billion. It's ridiculous.
All right,
is that where we're ending? Are we ending on that?
Yeah, let's end on that. All right.
What am I looking at here?
This is the new prime minister in Canada.
Oh, that's I had not seen his face. This looks like a caricature to me.
I mean, I'm sure this isn't a real time cover.
Right. This is
it's hilarious. For those listening, we're just showing a picture of the winner of last night's election.
Carney, right?
Yeah, and it's a fake Time magazine cover photo with him flipping off Donald Trump with a Canadian ring on his middle finger. It's actually great. I wish this were a real photo. It's pretty good, actually. Yeah. Okay. Thank you, everybody. As usual, please like, subscribe, share, all that fun stuff. We have a lot of great stuff coming up, a lot of content in the works, a lot of stuff in the works as we continue to grow our tiny little podcast into basically the biggest media empire, progressive media empire in the country. That's obviously the goal. We're clearly not doing this for fun every week as like a side hobby project.
Wait. Are we not? Hold on.
Wait a minute. I think we're misaligned on this.
We got our wires crossed. We'll have a meeting offline. It's fine.
Okay. Yeah. Let's.
In the meantime, we'll argue with us in the comments.
Yes, please argue with us in the comments
or at blue-sedition.com.
Yeah.
Check us out there.
Please keep saying that guy's bald. I really enjoy those comments. I'm definitely not deleting 30 of those a day. Like. People are hilarious.
Why would they be so mean to me?
No, I love it. Well, I know. I'm like, come on, man. That's don't do that to Mike. Okay, yeah. So we'll see everybody next time for episode 42. Thanks again. Bye.
Bye, everybody.